Okay, and we're live. Um,
Ah,
right, uh, mute, please. Right, so a quick recap of where I think we are. Now, obviously, you'd gone to Sakina Falls. You had recovered the journal. You had brought it back. You had met up with Arim. Am I
uh,
right about this?
Yes, because we had to deal with the air elemental.
Arim, yes.
yeah, the flipping.
I am. There we go. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So you brought it back and you gave it to her. Yeah. While you were there, you dealt with whatever the invisible thing was, and met the raving lunatic beggar Adil. Um, so yes, you got back and you gave the journal to AM, who told you the story of her mistress, who had been given a set of jewelry by her husband, but what she realised was that he'd paid top money for diamonds that were actually flawed. So she had gone and worked for the jeweler who had sold the diamonds to uh, her mistress's husband, and they had that was why she'd sent you off to it, that was Yodfa, and she'd sent you off because in the
actually, to take it on with I thought. I was going to do it.
sorry, Ollie, can you go on mute?
Sorry, yeah.
Um, so yeah, the journals that you recovered have all of Yodfa's accounts in them and prove that he was doing a whole stack of stuff that he wasn't paying tax on, as well as selling alcohol that he shouldn't have been. And she's gone and given that to the, or she's going to go and give that to the Sultan, so that he can, well, in the hopes that he will exact revenge upon Yodfa. So you had dealt with that, and you were looking into the problem of the seal and this mad beggar. And in doing that, you decided that you were going to go to the Temple of Zan, which was where Nabil and his master were worshipped, on the grounds that Temple of Knowledge or God of Knowledge, there's a good chance that you're going to get some kind of information from there. Interestingly, this is the point where I want to see the look on Simon's face. You decided to tell the priests all about Adil and the seal, even though it was Adil had stolen the seal from one of the priests of the temple. So you just came clean with the whole thing.
It's an interesting strategy.
To be fair, I think Nabil came clean with the whole thing.
Yes,
Let's-
it's a very interesting strategy. I'm off. Thanks very much. Good night.
Adil, at this point, disappeared from the scene after the priests had asked you to bring him in the next day, so that they could hear the story and try and find out what was going on. You spent a chunk of time desperately trying to find him, but that was all for naught, and you now wake up on the morning. I'm pretty sure you'd gone looking for him in the evening. You hadn't managed to find him. You'd woken up the next morning, and are trying to work out. I think the meeting was at noon. And you're now trying to work out what you're going to do, because you're due to turn up at the temple complete with Adil, and you don't have Adil.
Yeah, I think I'd said I'd meet him for breakfast, which I was hoping would give him more impetus to turn up the chance
Oh, that
to
was right. We
get
kind of went watching for him. We
good
went
meal.
looking for him, didn't we? I think I vaguely
Yeah.
remember that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Actually, you must have been at the last one.
Yeah, I must have been.
I think the one.
You've gone very quiet, Louis. You're not appearing in the centre screen.
Sorry. Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, the last one we cancelled because you couldn't make it, and I think there were 2 or 3 people that couldn't make the last one, so we cancelled the last one. So yeah, you were there. So yes, that was it. You'd woken up in the morning. He hadn't turned up. So you'd gone looking for him, and it's now approaching midday, and you need to go back to the Temple of Zun.
Yeah, it's time that I've got to head off now. I'll just show up without him and try not to be too embarrassed.
I just have to say one word about the entire thing. It's time for the Top Gear philosophy. It's every person for themselves. So Nabil has to go off and face all the priests. The rest of us could just do a runner.
I don't know anything of this has happened, by the way. I've been working.
Yeah.
I think you had too, hadn't you?
Yep.
Now, using all of Jafar's CD contacts, would he be able to have a better shot at trying to find where Adil, is it? I forget everyone's name.
Yeah.
Might have gone off
Adil.
to.
I'm pretty sure that you'd gone looking, but you
Okay.
hadn't managed to track him down.
Oh, I think I'd gone working as well. I think I'd done an amoir.
Yes, I think you had.
Yeah, you'd gone to try and find a magic shop and convince them to let you
Where
repair magic
wondrous
items.
devices.
Yeah.
What if Jafar pretends to be Adil?
No, that's an awful idea.
I'm staying quiet. I'm not saying a word.
Can't help.
Would we gain anything out of it?
Can't help. I'm off working.
You'd be -1 bard, which could be an advantage.
I think we'd probably lose you to the jail, which I suppose could be gaining something. But I also don't think they'd buy it, given I'm not sure your stature particularly fits someone who's homeless and scavenging for meals.
I think we should club together and take Nabil back to the temple and throw him in the door so he can explain it.
Well, we could just tell him the truth again.
Yeah, I think Nabil's plan, just come clean with it and be slightly sheepish, but, well, only 3rd level adventurer.
That's what we're doing.
Possibly should have used his wisdom score slightly more.
Possibly.
All right, so you guys are going to.
What's Nabil going to the temple?
Yeah, so you guys are going to go back to the temple and try and work out the best thing to do and just come clean. So okay, so Anwar's on guard duty. Oh my life! All of the character names have. I haven't played this in a month, and I forgot. I know the character names, and I've forgotten who's who. Simon, your character is
Yazid.
Yazid. I thought it was Yazid, and then I decided that wasn't right. Yeah. Okay. So Yazid is not going with them.
No, I'm off to go and see if I can drum up some work.
Okay. But the rest of you are going with Nabil back to the temple. I mean, you went to the temple with him the day before.
I think only a few of us did. Was I think it was a couple of other people went off and did other things, looking for things about the prophecies.
Sure, I'll come with him. I fancy a laugh.
Right. Okay. So you turn up outside the temple. The guards are aware that you're coming and have been waiting for you. So they show you in. You're led into a large chamber. There are several priests on either side of the priest that you spoke to yesterday, who sits on a marble throne. There are various carvings behind him showing Zahn. There are lots of scrolls and tomes mixed in with the carvings to kind of it's the kind of what you'd expect for the Temple of Zahn. The room is large and airy, but with the throne on the dais, on a raised dais, and then kind of various priests stood on a raised step that's lower than the throne, but there, you definitely feel exposed as you walk through the archway at the end and walk the kind of 30-foot up to stand before the dais.
What would be the appropriate greeting at this point?
Apart from some grovelling.
Well, yes, but first you've got to start off the confession.
Well, you walk in and as you get sort of about 5 or 6 feet from the first step that lead up to the dais, the priest that you were speaking with yesterday leans forward on the throne and says, "The three of you I recognise. You were supposed to be attending with a beggar."
Oh, I can't listen.
Well, I through a moment of misjudgment, and the beggar have it being slightly wiser than I'd anticipated. He saw through my plan, our plan, and has proceeded to well,
Escape.
he is we are no longer aware of his whereabouts.
You're
We
telling me
lost him.
that you have lost this street vermin.
Well,
Yes, yes, you are, Jay.
there are rather a lot of them in this great city of ours, and well, I think lost would be a very apt term for this.
So you
Yes.
come before us without the fugitive. Do you at least bring the seal with you?
Well, to be
Is that Nabil
completely-
collapsing on the ground and crying because he can't produce the seal?
No.
In his pocket.
No.
Is it worth pointing out that every time he gives away the seal, he gets it back?
Yes. We have attempted to relieve him of the seal. He no longer wants it. However, by some form of magic, which I am unfamiliar with, it appears to find its way back into his possession, regardless of what we do. Even when one of us is watching him and ensuring he has no contact with it. So if we find a deal, we will likewise find the seal.
I see. He pauses and looks to either side of him, back at the assembled
I'm awfully
at the
sorry
assembled clerics.
I'm awfully sorry to have wasted your time. I happening.
Dropped out.
Oh. No, have I? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, James.
Yeah. I can hear you.
Oh. Actually,
Can't hear him now.
yeah, he's the only one that's
Louis
not.
dropped out.
Yes.
I can't see Louis moving.
No, Louis just
No,
died.
he's dropped out. Well, there we go.
Well, that sorted that.
Problem solved.
Find him, Arby. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Right, we found him. They gave us 500,000 GP each.
Am I the only person who dropped off?
Yes.
Right. Can you tell them I'm going to try and log out and log back in, but that might kill the session.
I think he's going to try and log out and log back in again, but that might kill the session.
Yes. Yes,
Give it a
exactly.
go.
Yes.
He's gone.
Yeah.
So we head
Hooray!
back to the temple to go and find him again.
Yeah. He
Oh.
turns up just in the nick of time.
He's definitely standing there waiting for us.
Yeah.
This is where it won't let him back in.
Yes, it'll be worth it.
It'll be much easier without him.
I'll tell you why, I've got no internet access.
Can we get you a nil by mouth sign, Liam? No, you're in bed.
Is that James stealing all your bandwidth?
Oh, James has joined in.
Here we go.
James
I'm
been twice now.
back on here. There we go. Right.
Your video's frozen, James, and you've signed in again.
Get internet back on the
Oh, that's not ideal. Dad's trying to get internet back on the PC and it did something.
He disappeared and reappeared as a new James.
Well, can never have too many of us.
You could sacrifice one of them to the GM, couldn't you?
Oh, there we go. You can have that one, and next one can survive. Yes. Right. Oh, and it's gone again.
Oh, James now.
Your clone's disappeared now.
That's it. He's back on now.
I sacrificed it to the GM, you see.
Sacrificial James. Ooh. Nice.
I think you might get used to that idea, Charlie.
Yeah.
Or at least Louis might. I don't want to go to work today, so I'm going to sacrifice my firstborn son. He can go to work instead of me.
Well, if we can find the right religious sect, that might work.
Well, you can always do what L. Ron Hubbard did. Make up your own.
Yeah.
And then Scientology was born.
And all he did was sucked money out of the stars. Brilliant.
How are we doing, James? Oh, hang
Oh.
on.
There we go.
He's back, but I can't hear him.
I'm back.
There we go.
Oh, I can hear him.
It's back. I can't hear it. How do I mute people on this?
Yeah, sorry about that. I've got a power line adapter, and for some reason it just completely lost connection to the router, and I needed to restart it.
That's all right.
Right.
While you're gone.
Right. So yeah, where were we? Yes, the priest was looking to either side at the assembled masses.
And I was
And
starting
you
to
started to
make a fool
crawl
of myself.
even more. He sits back on the throne, and from either side of the hall come two Mamluk. Both or all four not Anwar. Before I see Ollie getting worried. Not Anwar, but four Mamluk of the respected. And he says to them, he looks back at Nabil and Yusuf and Shafar and says, "You will find Adil, and you will bring him to the temple. And when you do, the Mamluk before you will know, and they will bring him to us. You do not need an appointment, but you will return, or we will come and find you."
Well, thank you for
Do we need the
being
scroll?